All right. Good morning, afternoon. Good morning, everyone. Um, as you see on the screen, the question for the word problems for solving rational questions. Could you guys get started working on that for me? In the meantime, while I take the attendance, please have your cameras on. Okay, so I think we can get started now. Today, again, I'm going to end the session early and give you enough time to just work on the homework problems. So for this question, when he works alone, Truda takes 4 hours longer. Then it takes Ivo to clean the bathrooms in the gym. After working for 3 hours, Truda quits for the day. If it takes Ivo 6 hours to finish cleaning the bathrooms in the gym, how long would it take Truda to clean the bathrooms by herself? So first of all, we want to find out the Truda's rate and Ivo's rate. Now, compared to other questions, this one is a little bit more complicated because it involves a lot more numbers. So first, let's focus really on this one here. Truda takes 4 hours longer than it takes Ivo to clean the bathrooms in the gym, it says. And after working for 3 hours, Truda quits for the day. So first, let's find out the rate here. If you could just tell me what you set up for the rate here. Let's go with Daniel.
For Truda's rate,
Both Truda and Ivo's rate.
isn't for Truda 1 over x plus 4.
Takes 4 hours longer. Yep. X plus 4. And then what about for Ivo's rate?
Iva's rate 1 over 6.
Oh, I see. So if it takes Ivo 6 hours to finish the cleaning bathrooms in the gym, so it will be 6 here. How long would it have taken Truda to clean the bathrooms by herself here? Okay. So here, the question here is actually a little bit challenging because it says after working for 3 hours, right? It says then Truda quits for the day. So what we want to find out is how long would it have taken Truda to clean the bathrooms by herself? So we're really looking for this number right there. So I know it says the Truda, it takes 4 hours longer than it takes Ivo to clean the bathrooms in the gym. But what we want to set up for is that when we add the two rates together, Ivo's rate would be 1 over 6 and is equal to the total hours that it would have taken for both of them to finish the entire bathroom, which is working for 3 hours. Truda quits for the day. If it takes 6 hours to finish to clean the bathrooms in the gym. So that will total be up to 9 hours that they have spent together because Truda quits after 3 hours and Ivo works 6 hours after that to complete the whole process here. So what that would mean here is that, but then this one here cannot be 1 over 9. So Truda's rate, it takes 4 hours after working for 3 hours, which makes this to be a 7. Truda quits for the day. If it takes 6 hours to complete the bathrooms by the gym, how long would it have taken the entire bathrooms? Okay. All right. So here's how I want you to think of it. For Truda's rate, we have 1 over x plus 4. So whatever the rate would have been, we want to just complete the whole thing as if Ivo was just working on it entirely by herself, plus the rate in which Truda it takes. So what if it takes Ivo 6 hours to clean the whole bathrooms in the gym, how long it would have taken? I think this was just a trick question in general because if the Ivo's rate is just 1 over 6 to complete the bathrooms, then Truda's rate is just 6 plus 4 that, so which makes this 1 over 10. It would have taken 10 hours for Truda to have completed the whole process because of this statement right here. So I think I'm giving you something that's actually different. And then if it says after working for 3 hours, Truda quits for the day, how long would it have taken Truda to clean the bathrooms by herself? Well, it would have taken 10 hours in total by herself, but since she worked for 3 hours, you have to subtract 3. And then I think the answer for this was 7 hours like this. Not actually, this question is a little weird, so I have to probably go back to this. Sorry about this, guys. I'm gonna just put a little pause button on here, and I'm just gonna introduce you to guys the actual lesson that I wanted to get through for today. All right, so I wanted to just get sort of the sense of the much more complicated rational functions. I'm going to show you maybe the total like 4 questions for today, and then we're going to call it. So the homework that you're also going to get is very similar to this, and as long as you understand how to set up the rationals and just based on the word problems and all that, you should be fine. So here I'm going to show you with the first one. And all of these questions I kind of designed on my own to help you understand what to do for each of these questions. So instead of me giving you X hours and X minus like just one room per 3 hours and things like that, I'm involving a lot more complicated just fractions in there. But your entire process of doing this is pretty much the same thing. Clark can finish cleaning 5 rooms in about X minus 2 hours, and Dorothy can finish rooms in X plus 2 hours. 10 rooms in X plus 2 hours. So the fractions are all going to be different. They're not talking about just one room versus one room. We're talking about separate number of rooms for both Clark and Dorothy. If they were to work together, they can finish 7 rooms in 1 hour. So that's the rate that they give you. Set up the equation and solve. I want you guys to just read this problem for yourself and then just write down the rate for Clark and then rate for Dorothy. And then just write down the equation afterwards. If you have the time to kind of just write down the answers too, then by all means, go ahead. All right. So hope you guys have the equation at least for me. Let's see, Jacob, do you have the equation for us here?
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
No problem.
Okay. So, yeah, so I had 5 over x minus 2 and 10 over x plus 4.
10 over x plus 2.
Oh, x plus 2. Sorry. Yeah, my bad. I was pretty sure there was nothing else really new. And so we just crossed to find a common denominator.
Well, first of all, I need you to tell me what this set is equal to.
Oh, yeah, 7 over 1.
7 over 1. There we go. And then you said that you were going to cross multiply, but rather than saying cross multiply, let's say just getting the common denominator.
Common denominator.
But I know what you mean by that. You mean like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you do all the math, what do you get?
5x plus 10 plus 10x minus 20.
Excellent. And then when you combine these two together, you get
15x minus 10.
Over x minus 2 times x plus 2 equals 7 over 1, like that. Okay. All right, so I have everything that I need, and I'm just going to cross multiply. That's where you said it was just the cross multiplication. And then this becomes 15x minus 10 is equal to 7 times x, x minus 2x plus 2, Jacob. That would make this to be...
Oh, sorry. Well, hold on. I'm still doing it. So 7x minus 14 plus 7x plus 14. So the 14s cancel out 14x, wouldn't it?
There's one small problem here. I have
Oh, right.
X...
That's right. Wait. Yeah, my bad. Because it's x minus 2, x plus 2, it's x squared. Yeah. So 7x squared minus 28.
Minus 28. Excellent. So here I have to change that to double it. So it's 28 is equal to 15x minus 10. And when you add everything to the other side, or move everything to the left-hand side, or the right-hand side in this case, my apologies, you get 0 is equal to 7x squared minus 15x, and we get minus 18. Okay, so again, we have a quadratic. It's a more complicated quadratic, as you can probably see. We have to factor this with 7x and x. I just like to go straight to the heart of the problem. If you guys would like to use the AC method here, be my guest. But by all means, it's 7 times 18, which is going to be a really ridiculous number if you think about it. That's going to be 126. You're trying to figure out two numbers and multiplies to give you 126, but at the same time asks to give you 15. So my suggestion is just go straight right on there to kind of solve for what two numbers will kind of work out to get you added to get negative 15 here. Okay. Jacob, do you happen to kind of have a guess as to what numbers you want to try for this one for factorization?
I mean, not yet, but I guess I can try. So, I mean, you can factor out, all right, so you can factor out x from 7x squared plus 6x and get x 7x plus 6, and then you can factor out negative 3 from negative 21x minus 18.
I think we're looking at the same, are we looking at the same equation right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you mean by factoring out the x? Because I cannot factor out the x.
Oh,
from this
sorry. I'm kind of a step ahead, if that makes sense.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I rewrote it out as 7x squared plus 6x minus 21x minus 18.
Okay. Oh, I got you. 7x squared plus 6x minus 21x minus 18, like this.
Yeah.
Also, you did find out two numbers that multiplies to 126, but adds to give you negative 15.
Yeah.
Excellent. So draw that wall. So you factored out the x. That's what you mean. Okay. Then you factor out a minus 3 from here.
Yep.
All right. So that tells you the answer here. So it says x minus 3 for one of them, and it's 7x plus 6 for the other one.
Yeah.
Excellent job, Jacob. Great. All right. So what are my two solutions here going to be? Let's wrap this up, Jacob.
You're going to get x equals 3 and x equals negative 6/7.
X equals negative 6/7. So we still get two solutions. Excellent job. But however, what is our very last step that we always must do? Guys, after we are at this stage, there's something that needs to be done. Like, we got the x values, we want to plug it back in to make sure that the answer makes sense. So if you plug in a positive 3 here and here, do you get a positive time for the denominator? Because the denominator always represents time. Positive 3 is definitely going to work. But notice what's going to happen if you put negative 6/7 in here. Plugging in negative 6/7 in that particular fraction, you're going to get a negative number for your denominator. I can't have that. You do not want to have a negative denominator for your time because the time cannot go back to being negative. Okay? So therefore, this is not a correct answer. Our answer would just be x equals 3. All right, any questions on this one here? That's a little bit more complicated. Rational functions. Okay. Let me just go to our homework questions. Now, I hope that none of these that you found a little bit particular in terms of difficulty wise, but I still just wanted to kind of go over maybe 2 questions. So everyone just take a look at the first one and the last one, and we're just going to go over the answers. A company's new printer can print checks 3 times faster than its old printer. With both printers working, the checks can be printed in 6 minutes. How long would it take for the print the checks to how long would it take to print the checks with the new printer only? So we're talking about the faster one. Just tell me the answer, okay? Just tell me how long it would take. Hannah, what did you get for number 1?
I got 8 minutes.
You got 8 minutes. Okay, so the setup would be 1 over can print checks. I'm just going to call that as 1 as the work. 3 times faster as old printer. So if this is your equation, that should be perfect. Multiply this by 3. We get 4 over 3x equals 1 over 6. So x is indeed equal to 8 minutes. While it's going to take 24 minutes for the slower one to complete the whole process. So definitely the answer here is going to be x equals 8 minutes. Very good. So I know that I'm skipping a lot of these, but I think it kind of incorporates the faster rate by multiplying by 3 here. This one, it says it will take Dan 30 hours longer. So I wanted to kind of go over one of these types of questions. Let's see. So Dan and Brent working together can frame a house in 20 hours. Working alone, it would take Dan 30 hours longer than it would take Brent to frame the house. How long would it take each of them to frame the house alone? Let's see. Amelia, do you have an answer for this one?
I don't think I did this one right. Like I was a little bit confused.
Do you have? Oh, okay, but it's okay if you did it, incorrectly. That's all part of the learning process. Did you happen to have anything that you have for number 5 that you could just share with the class?
I mean, like I don't think so, because I don't think I did it right.
Okay. Not the correct answer, but do you have the equation for this?
No, I don't think
No?
I did
All right.
it right.
Okay, so then let me just help you here. Working alone, it will take Dan 30 hours longer than it will take Brent to frame the same house. So help me out here. If I write Brent's rate as finishing that one house in total of X hours, Dan's rate, it says it would take Dan 30 hours longer than it would take Brent to frame the same house. So then how would I be able to write the rate for Dan?
X plus 30?
At 1 over x plus 30, great. And I'm putting these 2 together because Brent's rate plus Dan's rate, it should equal the rate of them being together. How would I be able to set that up here? It's in the very first sentence, Amelia.
Oh, 1 over 20?
1 over 20, right? Because that's the rate when they're working together. So that is the equation you want to set up. And this one, it's a little bit more complicated because you have to multiply by the denominator of the other fraction, if that makes sense. So here we get x plus 30 over x squared plus 30x plus x over x squared plus 30x equals 1 over 20. And then when you add these 2 together, 2x plus 30 over x squared plus 30x equals 1 over 20. and then you would cross multiply, and then you would solve. So to show you the final steps of how to solve this, x squared plus 30x is equal to, we get 40x plus 600 x squared, and then you subtract everything, minus 10x minus 600 is equal to 0. Now, you might think, okay, there's really not two factors that multiplies to 600 that adds to give you negative 10. Believe it or not, it's actually quite simple. 30 and 20. That gives you 600, but also adds to give you negative 10. So that means that the two solutions that I'm going to get is x equals 30, x equals negative 20. Obviously, the negative hours is not going to make any sense. Therefore, how long would it take Dan? 60 hours. And Brent, it's going to take 30 hours. Okay. All right, we are going to end our class with just one last question that I have for you guys. If you want me to go back to the previous slide, just please let me know. So I don't think I've exposed you to this type of question. It says at about one more package per minute compared to student B's rate. So again, when I was designing this question, I kind of wanted to introduce you guys to different ways in which this could be set up. So student A can pack 2 packages for 3 minus x minutes, while student B can pack 6 packages in 8 minus x minutes. Student A works at a faster rate, it says, at about one more package per minute compared to student B's rate. So set up an equation and solve for x. Let's go over this together here. So student A and student B, what would be their rates here? Okay, just by looking at the equation, just by looking at the context of the problem, how would I be able to set up the rates for both student A and student B? Lauren, can you help me out with this one?
Would it be 2 over 3 minus x?
Can you say that one more time?
2 over 3 minus x.
Perfect. And the student B?
And then 6 over 8 minus x.
Very good. So here I think we are all comfortable with setting up A and B students' rates. And the question here is that they don't work together. It says student A works at a faster rate. Usually what we do is we add these two together and set it equal to whatever it says. At about one more package per minute than compared to student B's rate. So what does that mean? It means that the rate in which what you have, because remember, these are both rates. If you take student A's rate, okay, and if you were to subtract student B's rate, because like A, think of it as it's like driving a lot faster. So it's going to have a higher speed compared to student B, who's working at a slower rate. If you were to subtract the two rates together, that will turn out to be a 1 because it says at one more package per minute, it says that's the difference of their rates. Or if you want to think of it this way, student A rate is equivalent to student B's rate only if we give a little special add-on to student B's rate plus 1 to kind of make them equate to each other, because student A works at a faster rate than student B by one more package per minute. So we want to add the extra portion to the slower rate to kind of make them balance to each other. Okay, so either equation is how you want to set this up. So if you like to use the first one, you would say, hey, the rate for A is 2 over 3 minus x minus B's rate, which is 6 over 8 minus x, is equal to 1. And then you would solve accordingly. Or if you want to do 2 over 3 minus x is equal to 6 over 8 minus x plus 1, you would solve it that way. Okay. First, I would like for you guys to spend maybe about the next 2 to 3 minutes. Just kind of get the common denominator and solve this out. And then we're going to check our answers. And then we'll call it a day for today. Please have this written down in your notes because it's quite similar to one of the questions you'll see. I think it's like a geologist question in your homework. I gave you 3 questions of word problems to do. It's already uploaded to Schoology. So make sure you have this in your notes, please. All right, so here's the answer that I want you guys to write down. First of all, whichever way that you decided to do, just do it the way that you feel comfortable with. A lot of students like the secondary method because you can just change this into 8 minus x over 8 minus x. Just gets it a little bit easier math for us to work with. If you were to work from the left-hand side from here, not only do you have to do complicated, multiplication here, 8 minus x, 8 minus x, 3 minus x, and 3 minus x. It just might make it a lot more complicated when you're involving signs and distributing. So there's more exposure to making mistakes if you do it that way. But like I said, either way, it should not make a difference because they are the same equations. So I'm still going to do this. 16 minus 2x over 3 minus x times 8 minus x here. I am not just going to simply I'm not going to distribute anything yet. Minus, this is 18 minus 6x over 3 minus x times 8 minus x. This entire thing is equal to 1. All right. So when I combine these together, remember the negative sign here. That is where the mistake is coming from. We have to distribute it to both 18 and the negative 6x, which would get me 16 minus 2x minus 18 plus 6x, because I got to distribute the signs to both 18 and the negative 6, which will make this to be my numerator, which will end up being 4x minus 2 over 3 minus x, 8 minus x is equal to 1. Then you will just move the denominator to the right-hand side. This is a lot of work here, but just move this to the right-hand side. And then you are going to have to distribute everything and then work from there. So 4x minus 2 is equal to, I'm just going to tell you what the factored version is. The FOIL version is x squared minus 11x plus 24. Then you will move everything to one side. Same thing that we've been doing before. It would be x squared minus 15x. Oh, that's not good. 15x plus 26. The two numbers that multiplies to positive 26 but asks to give you negative 15, x minus 2, x minus 13. So therefore, my two answers that I'm going to get is positive 13. So I'm going to write my answers at the top. X equals positive 13 and x equals positive 2. Remember, your very last step is to always check. If you were to plug 2 in there, 3 minus 2, 8 minus 2, I have no problem with that. But the problem exists when I plug in 13, 3 minus 13, well, that gives me a negative 10. I cannot have that. Okay, so you still want to check for these extraneous solutions and get the one real solution that you're going to get, which is x equals to 2. For those of you that solved it this way, you're going to get 2 over 3 minus x is equal to, if I were to combine these two, 8 minus x, this is 14 minus x, and you will cross multiply that way, but that still gives you a very complicated quadratic equation that you have to set move everything to one side, set equal to 0. You will still deal with the same quadratic equation that you see down here. Okay, this would be 2 times 8 minus x equals 3 minus x times 14 minus x. Okay, all right, so that's all I have for you guys today. Remember, check for your extraneous solutions. I cannot emphasize it enough. And when you guys get a quadratic, just make sure you guys do the factorization correctly. Have a wonderful weekend. Finish the homework by Monday morning, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Guys, remember, Monday we're seeing at 7:50. That's when the new schedule is going to come into play. 7:50, keep that in mind, unless they change the schedule and we're still virtual next Monday. But just please keep that in mind. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a good weekend, Mr. Kim.
Have a good weekend.
When do you think there will be an assessment, the next assessment?
Most likely next week, actually, because the week after that is going to be the last day of the marking period. So sometime next week is going to be the assessment.
Towards like the back half of the next week, like maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday even?
About that much, because we're pretty much nearing towards the end of all this chapter here.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, perfect.
All right, talk to you later. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.